We'll be talking about career. My name is Nadia Sean and my co-host.
I'm Daviti Buddy.
And we are so lucky to have our wonderful guest here. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and of course, we're going to be talking about her field, which is IT. So please, Miss Cynthia, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Petronelle Cynthia Mahop. I'm an Oracle database administrator, and I've been working in the field for about 5 years now. And that's what I do, and that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay, wonderful. So when we talk about career, one of the things people always talk about IT. IT is a blooming industry, and everybody wants to be part of it. But most times when you look at IT, people get intimidated. So they say, well, I will use computer, but I don't know what to do. So please tell us, what are some of your responsibilities as a database
administrator? Yeah. Okay, so one of the most important thing for me as a database administrator is to make sure our database is is up to par, meaning that everybody can access the database, because it's actually the core component of most companies, because without data everything shuts down. So it's kind of a critical role. At times our colleagues who are system admins or network administrators say, oh, you guys don't do anything. You guys are just hanging around. But actually it's quite critical, because we have to deal with the maintenance, making sure the versions of software that we're using are up to date, making sure that the information that's being inputted can actually be retrieved by all the applications that go into the different databases that we support. So that is, in short, what I do on a daily basis.
Okay. That's good.
So how did you go into this?
Actually, I graduated from University of Maryland College Park as a economics and finance major, and I was nowhere near IT at all. And I was in the field for a little bit, and then I did take some computer science classes in college. It was not there. I wasn't really interested. So a couple of years ago, I had a friend who told me about, because I was getting kind of bored there was no really advancement in my company that I was working with, and I was trying to find, okay, what else can I do out there? And he told me about the field called database administrator, that you don't necessarily have to go through a formal education. You can go through like little schooling, and maybe within 6 months or so transition into the field. I was like, nah, I'm not interested in all that stuff. So, but then 2 years prior, I was like, you know what do I have to lose, right? So I decided, let me get a chance, let me go into one of their open houses. So I went to the open house and I listened in, and what they were saying, of course, like with if I know what sales is all about, because I also dabble in sales a little bit. You want to sell your programs. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just all the fluff and everything. Let me actually get to know what is actually, can I really transition from what I was doing into this particular field, IT, because I've always believed that you have to have a degree in computer science or network engineering or all of that before you can actually be a
Database?
Well, a database or anything within the IT field.
Okay.
But in this particular situation, certifications are actually more important to people who are in the IT field. So if you have a regular degree, a bachelor's degree, you can easily transition. But there's some people who don't necessarily have a college degree who have been very successful in this IT field as well. So it's something that spurred my interest. It was something quite different, and lo and behold, I got into it, and I was able to transition, and it has been the best decision that I ever made.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
It's
been the best decision that you've ever made.
Okay, one of the best. I have my daughter, but that's a different case.
Amen. I like the fact that you talk about, being introduced to something. As women, as women in the Lord, we tend to we pray for things to happen, and then when the time comes to transition, we are always afraid. So what will you tell our viewers, moment or two, what will you tell people? What were some of the misconceptions that prevent you from going, or that you think will prevent some other people from making that transition from that job?
Yeah, and I do feel actually is still very much a male-dominated field. It is still one of those whereby you feel that you have to have some kind of intellectual capacity to be able to even entertain the idea of getting into the IT field, but I don't think that's the case. There's also now in our modern age, we're now becoming more inclusive. The people who are already in the field want to see more women join in as well. I always feel that whenever the women inside a certain place, things become more diversified anyway, because you don't want to have one kind of mindset where you already go a certain way. When you bring two genders together, there's always a mix of how do you call it, of concentration, whereby when you introduce a project, different ideas come and you're able to actually produce something much better. But women still feel intimidated to go into this field, but I believe when you have other women who can also kind of encourage them to just give it a try, we're here to support you. And the school that I went to really supported us and really encouraged the women to really, go in there, strive it, and then don't try to become a man, which is also the other part of it. You try to become, oh no, I can do this, the A-type personality. No, just be yourself, and then just let them know what you can bring to the table. And lo and behold, more and more women have been able to be themselves and really penetrate this industry that this is a male-dominated industry. But it's been a great transition for me.
Thank you so much for sharing the spotlight on the issue.
Yeah.
So if you have to say, what do you like about the field itself,
Well,
from your own personal perspective?
It's always innovating. There's always it's always changing. Things do not remain stagnant. You always have to keep on learning. You cannot just, okay, I've got it in there, then that's it. No. I have friends who are nurses who they always have to keep up with education. I have a friend actually who was quite intimidated by using computers, but now everything is transitioning. You see doctors coming into the appointment with their laptops and everything the data, everything has to be entered in database. So you have to still get some kind of knowledge on how to be able to use your computer. So for me, the IT field, like for example, the certifications, we have the cloud technologies that are coming into place now with Amazon coming to is becoming a main player, getting those certifications. Google is also in the play, Microsoft. So you always have to keep up with it. And for me, I always love to learn. And for me, that is one of the greatest things about this particular field. Always learning something new. Always.
Yeah, so talking about certifications, tell us a bit more, slow down with the certifications, like what kind of certification do people need?
So for example, as a database administrator, I use the software Oracle.
Okay.
And that's what I use to kind of manage my databases. So Oracle is a company that produces all the software. So they have their own certifications. They start at the associate level, and they have the professional level, then you have the master level. And so there are all these different steps that you can actually take. And then the more and more certification that you obtain, you're telling the industry that, yes, because you have taken the certification from this particular company, you are qualified to address any issues that may arise for any company that is using Oracle. So that's where the certifications come into play. Microsoft also has the same thing, where if you want to focus only on the Microsoft softwares, they have their own certification that you go through. So whenever you're going to a job, you might not necessarily have a degree in computer science, but because you have those certifications backing you up, they have a tendency more to like, okay, let me look at your interview, let us bring this person in and kind of interview them, even though they don't necessarily have that educational background to back it up.
Awesome.
That's good. Because one of the things that most people talk about is that when it comes to the certification, I know you talk about 6-month courses and stuff like that, and of course there are online courses. What will you encourage people? This is moment of truth, because you don't want to spend your money on a program or a certification that is not going to be beneficial, and then you finish it and you can't get a job. So what are some of the red flags that people need to watch out for when you're talking about certification and stuff like that?
And the other thing that I also wanted to mention is that just because you have an education doesn't guarantee you a job. Just because you have the certification doesn't guarantee that it just gives you you're a better player. Let me put it that way. When you're competing with other candidates that are coming to the door, but you want to make sure that if it's a program that you're gonna take it all the way to the end and be consistent. There's nothing that takes away from hard work, consistency, and discipline. And if you maintain those three, should be no reason why you should not be able to get a job in any of the fields that you're in. And of course, some certificates seem to be more valuable than others. Amazon they're becoming very dominant. And so if you have a AWS certification or something, they want to pick you up and say, okay, let's interview this candidate and all that stuff. But don't disregard the other certifications from the other companies as well. But just make sure that this is something that you want to do. Focus on it. It's going to be tough. Again, I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is very doable. You just have to be consistent, be persistent, and you get through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to focus on certification because
Right.
I know people are watching the program, and
Sure.
I really want to encourage more people to do the IT. So name 3 of the top certificate when it comes to the IT, and also the time duration that you need to invest, so that way you'll be able to know that, okay, I've finished what I need to finish in order for me to be competitive when I'm looking for a job.
Well, okay, it's going to be a little, how do I call it? It depends on the route that you want to go into. I'm database administrator. The people who do network or who are in the systems, or who might be doing, who become developers again, or security, cybersecurity again. Cybersecurity is kind of almost, it's not really technology, but it's kind of a fine line, you know. So again, depending on what field that you want to get into. For example, networking has their own kind of certification that they have to adhere to. Some of them are quite intensive, whereby they require you to take their own courses. You cannot go outside. Oracle, for example, if you are very good at managing your time, you can do everything online. They provide all the information online, but it requires a lot of discipline. Schools enable you to have that structure whereby you're coming to the classes, you're learning and everything, and they're giving you like a baseline, a foundation, how to go forward. For the certification, for example, I have the OCA, and I'm finishing up with getting my OCA as an Oracle Certified Associate, and I'm getting ready to finish with my Oracle Certified Professional certificate. So that one requires me to take a course with Oracle as well as take an exam. I've already taken the exam, I just have to take the course. And for that one, is a good leverage for me, but again, it's very good, but it's not necessary. I also want to point that out as well. Even though certification has been talked about, it's not also necessary for you to also get into the field. I have a lot of colleagues who got into the field without necessarily getting a certification. That's the other part of it as well. But again, if you're not new to IT, getting certification kind of gives you that backup that just because you didn't go like a formal schools of computer science means that you can actually still do it.
I like that. I like the fact that, so we're talking about career and we're talking about protecting your dreams. Your dreams can come in many forms. So
Yes.
if it's IT, really find out what areas that you really want to focus on, because people say IT is like a door. So which one are you going to when you go into the door? So for me particularly, I don't know because I'm not an IT person, but if you are really interested in, do your homework.
Yes,
what
do
you're
your
saying.
due diligence, talk to people in the field. And then some people are not as open, I don't know why, to give them how did they get into the field. But just try to reach out to people who are willing to tell you about their journey. Because when you see somebody who is like you, who is doing what you want to do, you're more encouraged to actually go into it. I know our people, we like doing things like the formal education. Go to school, get your master's and everything. But then when you try to bring from the other side, I know you don't necessarily have to get a master's to be able to get a 6-figure salary. They're like, but how is that possible? We're taught to go through a formal education, but you can still get well paid without necessarily that formal education. So you have to be focused and dedicated to what you want to do, and eventually you'll be able to get it.
That's good.
Awesome. So let's say I want to take Oracle certification. I do want it. What is the first step I take? Where do I look? Where do I go?
Oracle.com.
Okay.
Oracle.com, and you're able to register for free. And then they have a section on training, and they literally spell it out like the math, the pathway for you to go through.
Awesome.
What courses that you want to take, what exams to take, and everything for you to be able to get the certifications. So
Oracle.com.
Yeah, Oracle.com is out there very plainly put out for you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for Oracle.com. So if you want to do this, please, it's definitely your dream, your future, so go for it, and we want to support you in that. In the same way also, so what are some of the challenges that you are seeing now that you think people need to be aware when it comes to the future? Because you need to make sure that people are thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what are some of the challenges we'll be having in that field?
One of the challenges that we're going into is everything is going to the clouds.
Okay.
Oh, the clouds, man. Really, and then my personal take is, what about the security level? Because anything that goes to the cloud can never be deleted. It's there forever. And when you start dealing with PI information, personal and development information, or the healthcare has what's the healthcare HIPAA. You start dealing with this kind of data. It's very sensitive data. How can you protect that if everything's not going to go to the clouds? And there have been reassurances here and there, especially from the big players like Amazon and Oracle and Google, that everything is secure and all that stuff. But we that's one of the places where IT is going to, and again remaining up to par with the level of understanding of what it takes to be able to be a cloud practitioner or somebody who has a level of expertise. Because I can come in as a database administrator, if I do not keep on learning and increasing my level of knowledge, I'm going to be left behind. Now Oracle is talking about automating my job. Can you imagine? That means that my job in a couple of years might not be existing anymore. Well, they claim that it's just that the mundane tasks you will not have to do anymore.
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, all of that, it's going to come and take over. So we still need the humans, but the humans that we're going to need are the ones who are going to be specialized. So you have to remain up to pace with everything. You have to remain, yeah.
That's good. So we're talking about moment of truth. Remember the job that you have today. 5 years from now, you may have to learn new skills.
Yes.
So don't be lazy about learning new skills.
Don't be.
Yeah. Because 5 years is around the corner.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. I was wondering if I do not go through the normal channel, okay, and I go through the oracle.com and everything goes through. So I know online sometimes when you do a course, they give you certification. Is that what you're talking about with the oracle.com?
No, to gain the certification, you have to literally pass the exam.
So there's an exam too, right? And then there's a training.
Yes, the training can be done online. They have the courses online, which can be quite expensive. That's why they have third-party vendors who do also offer the courses. You don't necessarily have to take Oracle's courses, but of course you want to take it if you can afford to take it from the person who created it. It's better, right? But there have third parties who also offer the classes as well. But then the exams are given by Oracle. You have to pass those exams in order to get a certification.
Okay. Yeah. So as a database administrator, what's your week like? A typical week or typical day like?
A typical day, I get into the office. I say, "What's up? Hi, everybody doing?" No, I'm just kidding. I get into the office. I check my emails all the time because at times we might have either like alerts from maybe there's a particular database that might need to maybe have their table space increase or whatever is maybe getting to the threshold that I have to be aware of what's going on. Or maybe there were some queries that came in late last night. I wasn't on call. Maybe my colleague was on call, and I have to follow up with those queries from clients. So just little things like that. Or maybe we might decide, okay, we're going to upgrade from one version to the other. We're having our meetings and strategizing how we're going to go about with the upgrades, because at times that require us to maybe shut down some databases are required to be up 24/7. How are we going to be able to do the upgrades? We have to plan and all that stuff, and maybe have the outage. So all these little things. No 2 days ever the same. It is true that at times you might be just sitting around and just like, and then the sitting around, don't just sit around and do nothing. That's where the educational part comes in. Spend some time in trying to upgrade your level or take more courses while you have some downtime, because when it's mission critical, they're going to ring your phone even if it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's the other, let me call it the drawback of being a database administrator. At times you're on call, or at times you may be called upon on the unusual times of the day. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, there's something wrong with your database. We need you as soon as possible, because you want to make sure everybody's looking at you to bring this database back up. What's going on, You can imagine a company like Amazon, there is no way. Can you imagine Amazon being shut down for even like a minute?
Yeah. We are computer driven as a society.
Yeah. So
when your network is not working, you want to make sure your data process or data, somebody is figuring why is it not working.
Yeah, exactly. So that's again, every day is different. They have projects, you have maintenance, you have things that maybe you want to maybe include into what's going on in your company. You want to maybe start going to the cloud. How are you going to prepare to make those arrangements of transferring all your data on premise to back to the cloud. And so there's no 2 days are ever the same.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting us know. So when you talk about it, how does that affect your lifestyle, your general lifestyle, with that kind of pressure and, keeping up with just making sure you do your job well?
So one of the, I can only talk for me, but it is really finding a company that you can work with. I know some companies are more demanding of you than others. Some are more, even though they're demanding, might be also more accommodating. But you always have to have, I always have to have a backup. If I'm not able to pick up my daughter at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to be able to say, okay, I have to make sure somebody's able to pick her up and stuff like that. But it rarely happens. There are also other fields whereby your job, I know some people who actually work remotely. They work at home, and they're still managing the databases for the companies. Again, what are you looking for? I have some friends who they work, and they work 2 days at the office, 3 days at home, and stuff like that. But then again, whenever a project comes into play, you have to be able to manage it wisely, because the client who you're serving is waiting to get a report back, making sure that, okay, what they requested, you're able to deliver and stuff like that. So as long as you're able to do the work and still remain flexible, but you know that at the end of the day you have a job to do, most companies are accommodating. Yeah.
That's good. I like that. I think that's a good thing to look at when you're looking for your field of interest.
Right.
So,
especially as a woman, even though I know the family, we have the father and the mother, but at times, even as when you having that flexibility, but also having that constraint of, okay, what if I'm on call 24/7 for that week, but I have my kids also to take care of? Like, how are we going to be able to balance it? But it is doable if you're able to have it, especially if you have understanding colleagues as well.
that's good. So moment of truth, let people know what you need.
Yes.
Most people don't,
Yes.
they won't
Yes.
even think anything about
Yes.
it, because some people can be on call 24/7. They will shoot you email at 12 midnight. And you're like, wait a minute, are you dying? That's what I ask when people shoot me email. If you're not dying, don't send me an email at 12 midnight. So just let your colleagues know what you need.
Yeah.
So that way they'll be able to accommodate and assess your situation.
Indeed.
Right. So what kinds of accomplishments tend to be valued and rewarded in your field?
For me, I think being an incredible team player, I think that remains number one, because not only are you working with, either you're only DB or you have other DBs in your team, you're working with the system administrators, you're working with the applications, the developers. Being able to, I really believe being able to sit in a room, even though everybody have their own objective, but be able to understand where everybody is coming from, so that, because if all of us have one objective, we'll be able to accomplish it. But if you're trying to get your own way, tensions kind of arises. Being also humility. When you don't know something, there's nothing wrong to ask. At times we want to feel that we're the expert and no one can know when we do that. But
I know it.
The expert is in the room.
yes, I think humility, being able to always willing to go ahead and ask somebody else if you're stuck resolving a particular query and you cannot get any further, asking someone. And also always willing to learn. Open up yourself to always learning, because there are always things that are always changing, and being open to that. I think those are some of the things that you really definitely have to be able to succeed in this particular field.
Okay. So you talk about your interest being in the field, like, something happens, somebody introduce you to it and everything. So what will you tell women out there if they are interested in the field? What will pick people's interest? Because sometimes a job has to be like, wow, this is challenging, exciting. What will pick people's interest so that they will be more inclined to come into the field?
I think one of the biggest motivation for people to switch fields is money. And if they're able to make more money than where they think that they're going to work less.
Money and time. Okay.
Money and time is always a big factors. But right now, when I last looked, the average salary of a database administrator within the tri-state area is about $108,000 a year. On average. Yeah. Yeah, $108,000 a year.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so
that's a lot of money.
It ranges from like $60,000 to up to $180,000. So it can really vary. again, for, like I said, at times as a database administrator, you might get into a project whereby your time is maybe valued for a particular season or a particular, and then you do that work and then you move to the next one. These are consultants who go from 6 months to maybe 2-year projects. Or if you are if you are an employee, whereby you might be working on different projects here and there and stuff. So again, depending on what you need, what you want out of it, and what you're going to take from the employer that's coming in. I think in the next couple of 5 years, I was looking at Department of Labor's statistics. In the next 5 years, the field is going to continue growing. But again, you have to be specialized. You have to specialize in the particular fields that you're coming in. So even if you're coming at the entry level, that is fine. That's okay. But as long as once you get in, you keep on education, getting more education, so you become more and more specialized in the field. So you don't get kicked out because now it's becoming automated. It's okay, no, we don't need you anymore. We're going to stay with the people who have more of the specialized skills. So moment of truth, remember that your job and your skill set need to be increased with more years of experience, so that at the end of the day, artificial intelligence will not take your job. Yes, he will not. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things that we want to also see. Like, people begin their careers now, and they think, okay, I'm going to be, where you are, and then they get comfortable. And so as they get comfortable, something will happen that will make sure, that will wake them up. So what are apart from things that are changing, what are some of the things that you want to make sure people start looking when they come to their career field, like the red flags that they need to start paying attention to in that particular field that they are in? When you say red flags, like what are you trying to so certain things will give you an alert. Like you come to work and you realize that certain areas, like you said, now the cloud is there in your field. So what are some of little things that people will start seeing that your job is not as clear cut as it used to be 5 years ago or 2 years ago? Oh yeah, so like the advancement in technologies and new ideas always popping up and stuff like that. And for most IT jobs are mostly project based. And so at times, especially for those who are consultants, who they bring them in because they have a particular expertise in that particular area. And if after 6 months, 6 months or maybe a year, they've completed that project, they might transition into something else. But even though you come as a consultant, you have to be able to show them that you are really who you said you are. And it's more likely that they will transition you to the next project instead of you now going out there looking for another job. So things like that, like always yes, you can be an expert in that particular field, but just keep on growing so that they see you as a valuable player and they want to keep you on instead of you having to, okay, now it's finished, moving on to the next one and stuff like that. So again, going back to keeping up with the learning, keeping up with your skill set, whether as a consulting or as a full-time employee. Thank you so much for that information. I think that's a good understanding to have, because most people will come and say, oh, I'm only here for 6 months, but they don't realize that the same company you work for, they can keep you longer if you're a good team player. And they can actually cut off your time if you think that, just because you got the project, you're there for 6 months. After 3 months, they can let you go too. Wow. So you have to make sure you demonstrate that if what you said is you can do it, you can actually do it. They have the liberty to also let you go sooner rather than later. Oof, it sounds very stressful, but hey, they pay you $100,000, so remember, it's not for free. No, not at all.
So with your area, we know a few members here who, one or two, who are able to train others in their field. Okay. Are you able to do that? Is that something?
My time, going back to money and time, is I can advise and everything, but I don't have the time to train. Because for me, I think if you say you're going to train someone, you have to be dedicated, you have to be sure, because they're depending on you to transfer that knowledge to them. And if you're not going to make yourself available and you're in and out, it kind of discourages those who are attending or who are thinking that you're going to be there for you. So for me, I can advise, but for training for now,
not yet.
I don't have the time right now to train.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for being honest.
Yeah, thank you for being honest. And that's a good thing to do. The moment you don't be committed to something that you cannot produce.
Yeah. Right.
Because sometimes you overcommit to an issue and then you end up disappointing a lot of people. So please don't do that. So that's good. So as we're talking about career and everything else, what else for you in particular? I know that you have been in the field for a while. So what relevant, things that you see that helps you in terms of your undergrad? Did your undergrad, I don't know, help you in that area at all? It was just, like I said, accounting, it didn't really help you.
No, not really, not at all. But maybe, okay, let me go back. Let me go back. College, I think, really helps you with the soft skills. I'm never going to say that college education is useless. Never. I will not be one of those.
Your father is a teacher. He will appreciate,
Yeah.
he will appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll never say that. So, going to college for me, whether it be in humanitarians or arts or music, there's some things that you learn in college that when you transition to the corporate world or even to the federal government, you're able to take some of those soft skills with you. Yes, you have a specialized skills in this, but the soft skills that is actually what's going to help you keep on going.
Right.
Communication, writing,
Critical thinking.
Oh my goodness, yes. All those papers that you wrote, spent all night.
All the research that you put
all
together.
the research you put together, it's going to come into play.
Right.
It's going to come into play. So I think those are some of the things that, even though I did not necessarily go to get a bachelor's or a master's in computer science, it still helps me till today. Even though it wasn't like a formal education, but the skills that I use in college, that I earned from college, definitely has helped me in my career.
Even the structure of being disciplined and studying. Now you can study on your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's
Because studying is a skill, actually.
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So you talk about soft skills, but when you talk about skills, ability, and personal attitudes, are those essential to success in your career?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You cannot just, you cannot, yes, there's the money to be made. You can get the time that you want for your own personal life, but some of these skills or attitudes that you need them in order to become, you can remember, we're still in the corporate world whereby you still have to be all-rounded. You have to be an all-rounded individual. Just because you're an expert, and if you cannot come and communicate your expertise to me, because most of the time we're talking to people who don't have that level of expertise. You have to bring it down, but still explain what you're trying to implement. So you still have to be able to bring your knowledge, layman's understanding, and explain to them, and still go back and tell them, and go back and produce what they're asking for. So little things like that. And again, humility, being able to know that you're also, we like go-getters and everything else, which is fine as well. But then again, just know, and I also say, at the end of the day, look at your 5, 10, 15, 20-year projections. What are you trying to accomplish? Don't just go with life and just go to work, come home, and sleep and everything. Do you want to be your own boss someday? Do you want to own your own consulting firm one day and be able to go and do the biz with the federal government? Always look to strive for more.
Right.
And when you do that, you keep up with everything else. It's going to definitely help you.
So moment to have a strategy in place.
Always have a strategy in place.
I like that. So when we talk about, what advice will you give someone who's considered this type of job field?
Oh, definitely do your research. For me, most important is to find people who are already in the field. We can do research and everything, but I think the people in the field can be able to tell you exactly what you're going to need. And at times maybe also how to transition into it. Who knows? They might be able, if you go through your the training, they might be able to even, if they have openings, they'll be able to tell, by the way, I know of certain places that are looking for, even give you a recommendation. You don't never know. So for me, try to find someone who's in that field, 1 or 2 people, and see how they got into it. Some people came through formal education, others not, and make the assessment and then go from there.
So like a mentor, find a mentor.
Yes,
who's
if you
gonna
can.
Mentor you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. What are some effective strategies for seeking a position in this field?
What I tend to use is a lot of having a network. Again, going back to the mentorship, and having the school that I went to has a incredible network of people who are already working in the field, and at times they'll come and talk to us about what they do on a typical day, and some of the things that they learn in school, they are being able to apply that at work, being able to know that, okay, I'm not just doing this for doing sake. These are actually things that actually happen. There are sites like Dice, different like Indeed, where you can go in and look at a profile of what it is as an Oracle DBA, or even a SQL, because database administration again is wide. We have SQL DBAs, we have non-SQL DBAs, we have DBAs who, who specialize in SQL, Microsoft, and others who are in the cloud. So again, go look at the job descriptions, read through them, and see, okay, is this something that I can do, or maybe is my training offering me the backup that I can go into a interview and actually respond to their queries. Listen to mock interviews and stuff like that, and so that it can kind of give you like a overall understanding. Okay, if this is a field that I want to get into, I really want to know how am I going to get into it, and how am I going to be able to approach the entry, because entering is a little daunting, especially for somebody who has never been in that field before, and that transition can be a little intimidating, but it is possible because I did it. If I did it, anybody else can do it. So,
I think let's talk about entering. So, what are the qualifications you seek? Like, if you are hiring somebody, what do you think that they will be looking for when you're doing a mock interview? Like, what are they looking for in a new hire? It's a moment or two, so they will be prepared when they go to that interview.
Then, are you coming to tell me that you're coming in as a junior DBA, or are you coming to tell me that you're coming as a consultant?
I'm coming as a junior DBA. I just got my certification. I need help.
Yeah.
So, moment or two, tell me what I need to do.
Yeah. So again, you just have to know the basis of what it is to be a DBA. From the point of how do you go about creating users in your account, how do you go about shutting down and shutting down your database and starting it back up. If you have ever encountered any, again, backup strategies, again, all of this is in your training. Do you have any backup strategies? How you back up a database that is less than 1 terabyte to a database that is maybe like 300 terabytes, extremely big. Backup strategies are going to be different. Do you implement security protocols and all that stuff? So by you answering those questions, you have to learn about them, and hopefully you are in a training that also offers you mock interviews, because the more and more interviews that you seek that way, when you go for a real one, you have already encountered those kind of interviews before and you're more comfortable. Because at times there's some people who have the knowledge but they're not confident, and you say, everything that you're telling me is true, but I don't believe you.
Yeah, because it looks like you're just trying to get over.
Yeah. So again, that the premise of yes, you've now earned, you have the expertise. Now is for you to now sell it to me. That's a whole different discussion for a whole different day, because I know interviewing is different and stuff like that. So that's something that I'll definitely encourage somebody who has now gone to the training and now is ready to now go into the real world. Listen to mock interviews. If the person who is training you can offer that to the students, and I think anybody who has a school who's listening to me, really offer that to your students. Do mock interviews for your students. Give them a real life scenario. Like, okay, you're doing interviews. This is how the interviews is going to go, and so that they're prepared. So even when they go for the real one, it's not intimidating to them as well.
And I like the fact that one of the things that you talk about, you use jargons. Every career field has its own jargons.
Yes.
The medical field has its jargon, the IT field has its jargon. So whenever you are talking to the people in your field, use those jargons for them to know that you know what you're talking about. When you're talking about take a bite, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? But just know the terminology so that when you are prepared for the interview, so that they know that you are speaking their language.
Yes.
That is important.
There's definitely a language in there,
Okay, that's good. So, your teammate, like, people always say, okay, I'm working with my teammate. Is it hard to be a female, moment of truth, working with a bunch of guys,
Well, I don't know. For me, I'm not trying to be boastful, but I've never had a problem working with other guys. But I definitely know it can be intimidating when you are the only female in a room of guys. And again, going back to your truth, a woman that I follow, she said, women have to stop saying I'm sorry. for anything. Oh, sorry that no, stop saying sorry. Just speak what you want to say, and then once someone also mentioned that when you're in a meeting, stop taking notes. You're not a secretary. Just because you're the only woman in the group, that doesn't mean that you're the one who has to be taking notes. So just leave the pad and the pen down and listen in. And whenever there's an opportunity, bring up a point. Even if it's one point, bring it up, during the meeting and stuff like that. So little things that you have to do. Yes, we're female and everything. And you're getting into a male-dominated industry, but little things that you have to do that let them not think that don't also let them treat you special. Oh, because you're fragile. Of course, it's fine, but
don't take advantage of it. People like to do that too.
Yeah, things like that. So
okay, that's good. I like that. There's so much we can learn, so much that we can talk about.
Right.
And our time is fast spent. We started late.
Yeah. And my apologies.
No, we're good.
All right. But I just wanted to be, conscious of the time factor. So let us talk about some key things that we can. If our viewers watching this, what else, if there's 2 things that you want our viewers to know about being a female and being an IT field, what will you let them know?
Well, being in the IT field, even as a female, I think there's great opportunity for us to be able to grow in this industry. Don't be intimidated by the fact that, yes, it's a male-dominated industry. How am I going to get it? Right now, in our current economic lifespan right now, it is encouraged for women to, whether it be engineering, whether it be cybersecurity, whether it be even football, going back to become the different sports, to encourage women to join these fields. And you're always going to find other women who are doing the same. Reach out to them just to get their perspective of how it is in that particular industry, especially if you're new. And then there are blogs out there, there are YouTube channels of people who are trying to encourage women to get into the IT field as well, and just find a way to see how it's feasible it is for you to get into the particular field. I don't think there's anything. I would say what a man can do, women can always do better. Oh, sorry. But you see again,
you got to believe in yourself.
Just believe in yourself that you can do it, and then go for it. Go for it.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that.
Nothing.
Because we really want everybody to achieve their goal in life and also be protective of your dreams. Don't let being a woman prevent you from dreaming big. And that's what we want you to know. The IT field is really a very fast-paced field. I'm super excited when I see how technology has come so far. The phone that they had 10 years ago is not the phone that we have today. And every 3 months, if you check, there's more changes that are going on in our technology field. So if you like change, if you're excited about change, please protect your dreams and go for things that really make a difference. So
yeah, that's good. Thank you so much for hanging in with us. It's been awesome. Would you like to talk about the LaTeX training?
Yes.
Linux training?
So
to talk about IT?
So we are so blessed as we talk about different training that are out there in IT. So we have one of our brothers in the Church of Pentecost who has opened a program called the LaTeX Global, and he's training people in Linux. Okay. And he is going to be talking about cutting-edge training in Linux system, engineering, and administration with introduction to cloud technology. So as he said, cloud technology is out there, and it features hands-on training, one-on-one interaction, real work state scenario, learning from the industry experts, mock interviews, and also 100% job search, assistant. And so that's the thing. And so an online option is also available. So here it is, somebody who's really putting the real application into his company. So if you want to know more about it, definitely
contact number.
Texas. I do not have its number here. I have to make sure.
Okay.
I get it. But I know
we know so many people who are taking the course. Some have found jobs. So it will be really good for you. We'll put it on our Facebook. How about that? We'll put the adverts and the phone number on our
actually,
Facebook.
I have the phone number. Sorry.
Right.
I have it right. I have to open my phone to get it. The contact number is 443 443-764-1106. And the contact number again is 443-764-1106. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Uh-huh.
Nurses Association meeting.
Yes, so we have the Ghanaian Nurses Association, and they are having their monthly meeting this Saturday, and it's from 3 to 6. And it's going to be at this building, which is 15421 Old Columbia Pike, and it's in Bottomsville, Maryland. And it's from 3 to 5 this Saturday, May 18th. So you are welcome to come, anybody in the healthcare field, and it's called the Ghanaian American Nursing Association in Maryland.
Thank you very much to our sponsors. Thanks to Ashon Collections, supply of electronics and consumer products. You can contact Ashon Collections on 024-354-8925 or 027-638-0091. Thanks to International Market, El Shaddai International Market for your sponsorship. Thanks to Lean on Jesus Foundation and Ministries. Yes, El Shaddai International Market is telephone 240-528-0076. Thanks to Pat's Floral for your support. God bless you all. Stay with us. Let us know any other careers you'd like to know about. Back to you.
And then we also have the real estate workshop that is coming on June 29th. And it's called, the real estate company is called Comfort Inn. And it's one of our brothers who's also have his own company. It's called Real Estate Workshop. That is going to be June 29th. And it's also going to be here in the building. And it's going to start from 6:30 to 8:30. And it's June 29th, which is a Saturday.
We encourage you to come.
Yes.
Come and be blessed.
Yes, we have a lot of things that is going on. We just want you to understand that the careers are out there. So you definitely are welcome to be part of it. And we also want to say thank you so much to our guests. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. To our national head apostle, Marco, our regional head apostle, Samuel, and of course our district pastor, Pastor Evans Barton and Beatrice Barton. Thank you also for watching us.
God bless you.
And our technicians.
God bless you.